Another one over there? Right down. Yeah. Instead of cutting the you just shed those down. And we could just.
Well, you would correct the light pattern by just giving this little elevator. I got too much left on it. There you go.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Okay. Michael, are you ready? Mike? Hello, Mike. We're ready, but Mike is out.
We are a little earlier, but my name is Michael West, call sign NAW. I'm from Dallas, Texas, born in California, got to Texas quick as I could. I work at a company in Boston called Cyber that do remote stuff. Basically a professional hacker. That's why Dallas hackers, Dallas hack. I got my license in 2016 because of anti-fragility. Oh, that's supposed to be 2014. Kind of package deal. Went and helped out with some random nerds who went to my school and wanted a balloon, and we started getting interested. That was our first launch that we helped with. We chased it, and then after 2 years later, I actually got a license, upgraded it last year. Maybe I'll get to extra this year, don't know. But that was .NET.com. Pretty good reference if you just want to email me or something. But I'll have those at the end as well. But anyways, the reason I want to talk about this is, like you guys probably know Keith Kaiser, WA0TJT. He's been running the ARF site for like 5 years since Bill let him take over. And he decided he was pretty tired of it. So he put out a call on the DK install list, asked me if he wants to run it, and I volunteered. And so I'm in charge of it. Woo. So the site was kind of a mess. So it's about like 250 megabytes of code. There was code files in there from like 2003 that Bill had written in like Perl and CGI scripts that were still hanging around. So the first step was cutting it down from like 1,000 files to 15 or so. You guys remember the old AR Outlook, which is a pretty ugly page. It worked, but That's going to be the primary source for just linking to things. And once you get to that site, you scroll down one page and click a link, takes you to the flights. And you guys may be familiar with this. It's the same interface it's always been. At least now it's down to a manageable amount of code that I can actually work with and change. So there's still a lot of improvements we can make here. And I've done changes like it had like blank group images because it would go to, if you didn't have an image, it would go nowhere. We can fix that. Fixing up security holes. I want to take all of this open source. Right now, there's too many security holes, so we can't actually do that yet. But pretty soon, I've set up a GitHub organization if anybody's interested in that. But really, the reason I want to do all this is because I need some help, some ideas on what to do with the site and where to go with it, where to lead it. Because you guys have the experience that I don't have, so I want to know what you guys find useful in. So I've been thinking about what people go to this site for, and how can we help that. So, the obvious stuff of like, what is halogen ballooning? Yeah, we can cover that. That's pretty easy. The second thing I think most people go to this for is like featured flights. You want to go and see that flights interface, what's going on near you, what groups are launching, so you can follow. Next is, and I think this is a distant third, is like looking at historical flight information. If you want to see the records, or if you want to see, there's a few images scattered around there for the whole group. You can, with this interface, go back and look at old flights, but it's really clunky to do so. You basically have to know the flight exists. So, something I think that be changing. And then, probably the fourth one is, looking at groups. I live in Dallas. What groups are in Dallas? Who can I go and join if I want to become a part of what they are at? And then start thinking about what should it not do. And I feel like, having a live updates, social media covers that a lot better. Just tell people to go look at your Twitter, your Facebook, whatever. You guys post on that. I don't think we need to replicate that. Another thing is tracking and prediction. I know there's a lot of tools, and I don't think they belong on the AirHab site. I think they can go elsewhere. We can link to them. We can make it easy to link to them. For example, you post your flight in AirHab, and it just says, here's APRS 5, here's HabHub, here's the other ones. Makes it easy to get to all the ones. So that's kind of my thoughts on developing the site. And feel free to interrupt me with any ideas you guys have or any thoughts you guys have. So kind of what I'm thinking of doing, this is probably like a 6 to 12 month time span, just like small improvements over time, is making the flight scheduling a lot easier. Right now it's kind of clunky. If you put one flight in, you put another one, you have to edit everything all over again. I like to make it easy to just pull grab my last flight, let me change the call sign, and I'm done. Change the date, easy. I would like to add some integration. Like, USS, you guys are always you're putting all your flights on your webpage already. You don't need to do the work twice, put it into airhab.org. I can just write a script that goes to your website, grabs the recent flights, makes sure they're synced to the dates. And that can make it a lot easier for big groups that have a lot of flights, while still making it easy for small groups to post on the website. And what I kind of imagine the vision of airhab.org being, it's kind of like a museum of past flights. You know how when we go to the presidential libraries and all those other museums, the big stuff is the cool art, the cool imagery, the cool documents. But the real value is the archives, where they have just like walls of filing cabinets to store all the archived data, all the historical information. And I feel like a lot of that is being not lost, but fragmented around the HAB community. Everyone's doing cool data, everyone's doing cool flights, but it's staying on your computer, stored in a folder somewhere, unless you post on your site, which some groups do. But I think this could be great to serve as a central point where you can upload anything that you have in your flight. If you had a pickaxe, you're doing data logging, checking the temperature and pressure, and you want to upload a spreadsheet, that'll be stored on the site indefinitely. You can ever go look up, that 35BW #1 flight and grab that Excel spreadsheet. It kind of makes the science more open for everyone to get to and process later. So we can start looking to more large scale, what are the pressure and temperature across 100 balloons over the past 10 years? We can compare that kind of stuff and provide more information. And then, of course, I don't want to replace anyone who has websites and stuff. I want to link to them. Highlight your social media. You don't want to put your stuff here. Okay? At least provide a link if you can. And then if you have old flights and you want to upload data to that too, absolutely allow that. Definitely want to have a lot of pictures as well, because I feel like we take pictures that one flight, they're just sitting on Facebook. If you know where to get them, you can find them. It'd be cool if it was all in one centralized, at least we can add the historical upload and say, look, the Facebook album. Another thing, currently we have a lot of records on the site, and I'll talk about it in the next slide, but I really want to get to actually pulling in all flight data automatically from APRS and WhisperNet. So if your flight goes up, even if you don't make an entry in here, I'd like for it to take your call sign. Usually you can figure out the group from the call sign, and then record it as a historical flight, just with no extra data. So it'll keep all the APRS waypoints. So you don't have to have your own APRS seeing them, or you don't have to go to APRS Verify and use their API, which we do in 3 months, I think. So you can't do anything longer than that. And that will be, I think, a huge benefit to just saying, here's what my flight did, here's all the waypoints, you don't have to always record them. Finally, I think it'd be really good to help, this all ties in with that last slide of what the site should do, making it easier for you to find groups. And currently the group list is like 150 names sorted alphabetically. That's not really useful, that's not really helpful. So I want to make it so that groups you can click, then you can set it up so if there's anything that happens within like 100 miles, you can email for it. If there's any planned launches or actual launches, send a quick alert. Things that we detect as balloons. I want to kind of avoid, I know HADHub, the UK JV group, has their own kind of tracking system, but theirs is more based around prediction and statistics. This is more like, what was the OSS 121? You just link to the site or link to the blog post and go back and forth. Finally, there are a lot of groups that I don't think love flights. I don't want to be the arbiter of who's active and who's not. Let's do something simple as like answer an email once a year that says, hey, our group's so active. Simple as that, so that we don't have kind of older ones hanging around that makes it hard for people to get into the hobby. But really, that's the whole goal of this site, is promote the hobby of learning and getting England. So these are all the records, and it's a little bit of weird data, but these are the records that we currently have on the site now. So you'll see the record on the side, and then how we measure it, so longest or shortest. And then the number there is how many of each record. And you may notice there's a big disparity between some of these. I mean, altitude 112 entries, while audience size is 4. Now, that's just because you have to think and go and actually go and submit a records request and all that. So I want to make a few changes to this. So I want to limit each category to 25 entries, because right now, with altitude, I mean, anyone can submit. There's really a cutoff. If you get an altitude of 10,000 feet, you could submit that. And it's kind of confusing as to what is the threshold for a record. And it just causes more work. So I'd like to put it down to 25 entries. I think that's pretty fair, and I want to put a lot of things. Also, with the distance is dominated by pico balloons because they have different structures. They're lumped in with the latex balloons. You scroll down and you see 200,000 miles and then 1,000 miles. And so I think we should split up the pico balloons, maybe specifically the mylar balloons, over latex and then other for anything left. Just for those three, distance, altitude, duration. I think some of the other ones, most of them don't apply to pico balloons anyways, closest touchdown, so don't worry too much. As I mentioned, automated record keeping. So once we pull in that APRS data, now we can immediately calculate who had the fastest descent rate. So your opinion on is we have quite a few entries right there that have barely anything in them. They can't be automatically tracked. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of interest in people submitting records for these: balloon volume, audience size, payload weight. I can see audience size, just It's only for when you do a big group, you actually want to submit a records request. And I can understand that. So I want to see if you guys think, keep those, should we lose them? It's just another thing. Go ahead.
Payload weight, I think you ought to type payload weight to the size of the balloon. I mean, we flew a 19,000 pound square foot balloon, cubic foot balloon. We were listing that at almost 100 pounds. But that's not fair to some guy that's flying at 1,200. Right. So payload weight, I think ought to be for trying to do records, but it's associated with the size of the balloon.
Then the question is, we only have like 6 of, for the heaviest, there's only 6 entries, last 28. So then fracturing that into more categories, is we're gonna have like 2 record holders in each one? Because it all depends on you guys and what you guys want to submit as records. So if you guys want to keep doing that, the next thing, I'll go to this one. This is what I think what I was thinking there for the future. All the ones in bold, the asterisks, can be automatically turned. The only ones left are really those specific ones that just send an email and say this happened, or we recovered a balloon after 3 years on the ground, so put the records for sure. So, I don't know if we should split the 5 balloons or not. I think that's a good discussion question. Anyone else has any opinions on that? Yeah.
So will the webmasters need to conform to some kind of formats?
I'm pretty flexible at pulling in data. If you've got a database, I can get into that, or if we want to work something out, I can just create anything. That's pretty clear.
Maybe just not enough things to keep for the most part. Fully filled.
I thought about wiki. We do have the HANCUP wiki. We also have the APRS.org wiki. Would there be enough activity to justify a wiki? Would you have to, because we have to create a wiki page for like every flight. And most people find it.
I'm just saying you maybe create a top level thing, which is each one has a base page. Whatever they do with that.
See, I'm not sure because I don't think most clubs would want to like drop their site and move here.
Well,
But
you're not going to get the big ones.
yeah,
There's a lot of people that want airport that collect this data. They have like put it.
I was thinking that having the groups had a lot of more powerful functionality to post some information, like post a description of the group, to have members listed on the group, which I think covers a lot of function on the wiki. But keep that in mind for I think the knowledge part could definitely happen.
Right. Yeah, I mean, everybody's done experiments. And if you're not one of the big groups, nobody ever sees it. So you have the potential to become the biggest.
So that's something to look into. I really like the idea of sharing some of the data from launches that aren't now or just don't have like their own record keeping. So if you guys have any more comments, you're welcome to contact me afterwards. Just email. There's my lovely geek picture. I should put it there. But left-hand side, w5media.com. And then phone number if you want to. Probably don't call me because I'll probably not answer. I'm a millennial. What can I say? So on the right is the AirHab balloons website, the Twitter handle. Does anyone know who owns the AirHab Twitter handle by chance? AirHAB. Some Twitter hasn't been touched since 2008. Was it? I don't know who was running it at that point in 2008. That was far before me, but if anyone has more information on that, let me know. So, thanks guys. I hope some kind of interesting things. I hope you guys give some feedback. Or if there's no feedback, I'll just go and do everything I want. You guys are good, all right? Exactly.
Yeah, get it all fairness. You should do, my vote would be, you should do stuff that you want to do that you think would be cool, and we give you input. And it might be guide rails or suggestions, but you ought to just go ahead and pop it.
Well, I also want you guys to use them. Because I know a lot of people talk about how they kind of forget to post on the site stuff. So I want to make it easier for them and get people to use it so it's a better resource for all. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. So it'll probably take like 5 minutes or so, and they'll come back for the flight prediction. I think that is right, but.
Okay, that is our last presentation. We have 2 more drawings to make. We need to get back up projection history, start looking at some flight predictions too. We got 3 more to do. So with that, let's go to our next 3 drawings here. You're not going to wait later.
All right, last three digits of this ticket is 355.
So 355, 355. What is 355? Oh. Okay, do it again. 355. 355. Okay. What do you want, Larry?
I got a copy, CD, one of the CDs. That's involved. That's involved.
Okay.
Now, Amy, I got the nuts and bolts.
Okay, next again.
It's for David Lanning.
David Lanning. Hey, another Lanning brother. So, CD or the small speaker? I think the weekend we have to try. Okay, last one we're using for the small multimeter. Get yourself a multimeter. Hey. Okay, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of our speakers. Thank you for attending. We'll bring up the projector. Let's start bringing up Ham Hub, or predict Ham Hub, and let's start looking at some predictions. I'm disagreeing with the group. So let me bring up you. Okay, so let me bring up, let's take what we have. We're ready to go.
We always have that Kyle Walker about the English teacher. Yeah.
Okay, so actually we'll bring up Hep Hub first, and then I'll have Jerry come up and run his also. So I'll do just a real simple one, kind of show what we're looking at.
More green.
I'm lost now. There we go, boys, there we go, okay. Okay, so I was thinking originally at the Idaho-Oregon border or along the road here, so a set with map. Click right there. There's a turnoff at the border, but there's not enough for everybody, so I have to have space along the road. But it's a fairly quiet road, so I think we can get to the turnoff and then work our way down to the turnoff, getting off the road. This will be desert scrub land. Nothing interesting or exciting happening except for us. It'll be the most exciting thing out there. So I was going to put down the 16th, and I figured around 1,600 hours. And then I just said, let me start with 5 meters, which is kind of, 5 meters is a little slow. I think people probably go more like 1,200 meters, which is about, 1,200 feet per minute is about 6 meters. Now I said 30,000, kind of, let's say what the highest would be, see what kind of issues we run into. Okay, so this is not bad. The interstate's fine. Blacks Creek, this is exit 64. You'll loop around and come back. And this is not bad. This is not a bad place. This won't be too bad. I'll line down there. What are you looking at? What's that?
Oh, you didn't go anywhere near Jordan Valley.
Yeah, no, so I'm launching from the Idaho-Oregon border.
Okay.
Yeah, if we launch from Jordan Valley, that's another 40 minutes or so, another 30-minute drive.
You mentioned Jordan Valley. Okay.
That's right, and that would take us down here. And then the problem is we got to look at, there's a bombing range near Orchard. I've got my app map so we can pull it out. But somewhere here there's a bombing range. I just need to make sure we don't land there because we're not going to get stuff back if you do. So this is kind of what I'm looking at. And then Jerry, you want to show, Jerry, you have your simulations, right? You saw on a website you can bring up real quick?
I can run.
Okay, so this is what we're looking at first. This is a fast, hot launch, about 1,200 feet per minute. Something in 4 or 5 pounds possibly from the ones I'm going to launch.
Well, in order to get from the launch site over there, you've got to go way north across there.
That's right. The problem is we're going to have to go up, and probably fastest is to get up to 55, and then get back to the interstate, and like Caldwell or something like that. So something like that's what we're going to go. Which means that's going to take time to get there. That's right. And that means we have to launch, get everything loaded up, put the tanks back into the car and ready to go. Release, get the car and go, and not wait around to do checks. Okay. Okay, Jared, do you want to talk about yours?
Okay. About the same path everybody else is showing. So you may know this area a little better. John was thinking about launching in Homedale.
Yeah, if we launch from Homedale, my house is 1 mile from there.
Well, I push
We have
network
problems.
space.
Okay, yeah. But if that wouldn't work, I might get mine.
So we can get up to your bathroom.
Yes,
I don't know.
have to answer that.
Okay, so I can't go very far, but they don't have internet. But I pushed it back. There's the Oregon border. There's maybe corners out of it. It looks like there's some areas that will be trying to launch.
That's probably north of our house. Is that up north of Wild?
Well, here's Homedale.
Okay, oh, that's okay.
So it's just straight.
Okay. How many miles is
between Homedale and. It is.
This is about maybe 4 miles here.
So from Homedale to there, that's 6.5 miles. Much, let's say again, 6.5 miles. And the problem I see is if you go up fast and go up high, you're going to, let's see, 7, 8, 9. I did 3 predictions: 60,000 feet, 90,000 feet, and 105,000. 105,000 look like they're really good. They're kind of in here. The 90,000 feet, they're here, probably still okay. But if you have a really low balloon, because there's this western component at high altitudes, you're going to end up over here. That's Schaefer Butte, which I imagine.
Schaefer Butte is Bogus Basin. There's a good road up there, but once you get off the road, it's not good. If you're not on the road, you're not. But Schaefer Butte is Bogus Basin. That's our ski resort. So there's a good road up there. Trees. But yeah, trees, and then once you get off the road, forget it. If you land on the road, you'll be fine.
You have to walk and forget.
Yeah, this all be pine trees rather than deciduous trees. So the one benefit, if you hit a pine tree, at least it breaks down the side of the tree rather than deciduous where it runs across the top. But you still don't want to do that. But if I hit one, the other, pine tree.
Do you carry a chainsaw?
We lost the chainsaw.
You'd be shot.
Yeah, in fact, this being national forest, you go start down trees.
Not a problem.
I can take that question.
Yes.
Hey, so come out a little bit. So you said if Homedale moves the left-hand side, my left-hand side to the west, right?
Yeah, Homedale
This right here.
Oh, we go the wrong direction. Okay.
So we move it out a little bit farther.
Okay.
This is a
What is the
wide.
name of that location? Is it a town?
It's not a town. What's the name?
Why-
of it?
Coyote Corner, it's just a little bit of the road.
What's it called?
Coyote Corner.
If you look at it on the map, it looks like they've driven ATVs all over the place out there. So I think there's some areas you could probably launch.
The other problem is that this is pretty steep and rugged. This is a Waukee reservoir. Very steep and rugged there. Unless you have a good road, you're gonna drive a long time to go any significant distance there. So it'd be tough to go further west from there.
Right. Yeah. If you're you don't have a connection, but you're launching quite a bit farther south. And
Yeah, there's a road, there's a Waukee highway, out in, we need to a road out.
So you ready to wire back to work?
Yeah, this is a Waukee reservoir, here, that road in there. There's a highway, a Waukee highway, it's a good road, it's a fast road.
Well, I thought that 19, it was coming west of Homedale, and that border that goes up to 201, I thought that's where you had landed. And you put one.
Yeah, that's where last time we put Swanson, so maybe it's 201, so maybe this is where, yeah, this may be where I came in, okay, yeah, that's where I came in. That's right, because there's a Waukee up here, okay, yeah. So that's right, so the cliffs when I landed somewhere in here, and once you get off the road, it gets pretty steep and rugged. And I don't remember there being any roads going into the mountains there, so.
so I guess the question is for that launch site is who's predicting a low balloon? Nobody ever predicts a low balloon.
I'm thinking 80,000. 80,000.
Yeah, if you do 80 to 100,000 feet, in theory, you're going to be up in this area and you should be fine.
Okay, but do we know what the winds have been predicted for, say, the day before, and see how the landing is, this changing from day to day, is it getting closer?
Ground winds are forecast at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, west, southwest.
I'm wondering how the winds are off,
Winds are locked up to 60,000 feet, and predominantly out of the west, once you cross 60, the winds come out of the east and starts pushing.
yeah, so my question is, if we looked at this prediction yesterday and the day before, as the landing sites, that's gotten closer, but that's gotten
Yeah,
further.
Lights have gotten, Randy's predictions have gotten shorter.
Okay, so if that trend continues, they still land a little bit further west than what we did. Unless these are really good hikers.
24-hour prediction is normally pretty good, but I don't know. The weather here is different.
Yeah, so the problem is we've got this valley coming down diagonally. So if we can find a way to launch further east, because there's more west, is what I think about coming in here. Coming down into here, so we got more leeway before we hit the mountains. I think anything we can do that gives I don't want your board.
Which means, once you've won,
That's right. Yeah, you gotta go out and get back. So yeah, let's give you the questions. Can you get close enough to line your question come down, just leave it on the ground before you get there. Schaefer Butte is up in here, so there's Digit Peter up in here, and Schaefer Butte, so we'll have good Digit Peter all the way down. Plus I talked to kind of how Digit Peter in the valley and gradient running also, so we've got some good Digit Peter. We should get a good data on the way down. I know we want to avoid landing in Eagle and Star. That's where a lot of Californians are moving to, very expensive properties. I don't know what they think about landing in the car. Should be no big deal, but they are Californians moving out. So.
the eagle and star and eagle.
Yeah, so we want to avoid landing in those areas. I mean, I don't know.
Better than the mountain.
That's right, yeah. Power lines, the more power lines.
They're Californian, so we'll have fewer mountains.
Can you give me some idea where Coyote Corner is?
Just go back down.
I'm looking on Road 19, is that where
If 19 turns into 202 at the Oregon border.
how about 201?
Yeah,
Okay,
you have to write one in. And then it turns north, right where it turns 202.
Yeah,
north.
actually, Coyote Gulch Road.
Yeah.
Well, it's a corner of 19, 201, and Canyon Loop Road.
Yeah, there's some areas in there, there's like.
Coyote Gulch Road.
Yes, Coyote Gulch Road.
That's 8-hour drive.
No, that should be, it's almost a straight path back into the valley to where they're going to land. So we wouldn't have the hour. Right. Plus, that's half hour back time, so we'll maybe on the ground for you.
Well, we'll need to back to stay.
Everybody wants to see what
But can't do it.
Maybe if Coyote Corner and Hopedale is you're at a bridge across the river.
Right. Yeah, there's a bridge across the river.
There aren't many of them.
There's a bridge right here.
Yeah, that's the bridge to the home there. The place Marcy is right here. Here's Marcy, further south. I think it goes that way. If we launch from there, we still have. Oh, we got that.
We got to get up to.
I didn't take it right there. So we can come out of the yes.
It looks like farther north. It's a little bit better. It's like the south part.
Because it's, another thing too is that we'll have high-end homes along the foothills of the Boise Mountains, people move in. Probably larger properties, more expensive properties.
You speak their language. We'll send you
Can we scroll down a little bit? So the mountains look.
Is there a cable on here?
It's coming. It's the mountains there.
Down there. We have to get
Yeah.
plane launch by Adrian, which is right about here.
So this is where we're 52 and that is. There's a wide valley. There's a wide valley there. I don't know if you want to do that.
I'll just because that's worked really well.
That's where it's switch. Let's take a look, let's see if we can go a little bit further north like Adrian, we might have been together now. And that might work, so we'll take a look at that. This is an issue with Oregon, is that our family goes back south east, and the width of the way, I want to be balanced on the other side. It's not Washington.
Direct benefits go on further south.
Yes, and then the roads don't get good unless you get down to Oregon. So that's it. I guess if we want you to run on, we'll be letting you in my house, and that might not be too long of a drive.
You say March 9th?
That's 16 for now. I don't think we could do a watch from now. Over longer drive, So Rome is there's not much of a town there, but there's a lot of roads. That takes us further to the west. But we don't have to get to the interstate to recover. Someone have to launch from Rome and then put us south at my house up in Nampa. And we don't have to go on the interstate, so we can probably get there more quickly.
What's the name of that, kid?
Rome. Yeah, like Italy, Rome.
Like Italy, Rome?
Yeah, but Rome more. And the nice thing about Rome, there's a launch site. So people launch their boats there. There's a sign that says Rome launch site. It's beautiful to launch balloons from there. If the flight's going to work. But it takes about an hour and a half to get there. And maybe you need to be in the area when it's winter. So they're close to it. And the land is southern Treasure Valley more. There's open lands and cornfields and things like that.
How far away is it?
Probably, Rome is probably a good hour and a half drive.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So, here's the problem with Rome.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, but now, what if we go between Jordan Valley and Rome?
So,
There or something like that.
Shadeville,
Actually, what if we did, let's see, what if Okay, so all this, we're about Shadeville. And you don't have to get back to the interstate. You go up 95, 55, and just shoot across, maybe do something. That's Marshall.
Shadeville or Rockville, maybe?
Okay. That will take us south of the border. Let's see, the Rockville, actually Rockville's too far north. Come down closer to Shadeville. Yeah, Shadeville. Hey guys, yes, I am closer to Shadeville. So we know road won't work.
You think maybe
Shadeville, right here. Also, please, if you can't pick up any food, beyond orange juice back up to your hotel, please take some. Also, for Chase tomorrow, we have some food snacks and water. Take it on with you, so you got something on Chase. You don't need to get her down, but take it into account. Got any wine left over? At my house, actually. Well, he's back at home. Yes.
Shorter they go.
So the probably gonna see is now another 1 year, $105,000. Right.
I went out. It's got some clearance there, and we can walk around out there to, if there is a breach there, near the building, there's a swing for around now. We can walk around and get there. We'll start filling it. What time is it now?
They're just for
Yeah, we get freed up to start, we just probably say launch about 4. Okay. 4 to 4:30.
You're doing,
Eco?
okay,
I think so.
okay.
I think we can do it from the,
Yeah,
out here.
just from the site.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the only problem, 2 or 3 days ago, it was beautiful launch. Vision was perfect.
So it's saying fastest run around all of it. 2 hours. My balloon won't follow that path.
Yeah. Okay, but here's the thing, in Sheffield's worship, if we release the one of the new driving, we'll be there 45 minutes before the rain. We don't have about 45 minutes. And we can drive to, not to Cuna, stop at Cuna, until the Woodbury, and then we go.
Might be better when I can launch a bit of breakfast.
True, we can stop at Cuna.